former Obama-era Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, and former Bush-Obama-era Deputy Director of the FBI Philip Mudd, and former Obama-era CIA Director retired General Michael Hayden want America to know that regardless of the corruption all over the intelligence community's hands, we should just trust them, because at the end of the day, it's all President Trump's fault.
Without Strzok, there'd be no special counsel investigation. Without the dossier, there'd be no special counsel investigation. Without this focus on Page, there'd be no special counsel investigation. So the special counsel's built on a sand of corruption. And this is why, in my view, it needs to be shut down. Strzok, remember, worked the Russia investigation for well over a year plus, nearly 2 years, before, in secret, Mr. Mueller had to pull him off the investigation because the IG got a hold of the text messages like these.
What bothers me the most is the institutions and values and norms and standards of this country that I spent a good 50 plus years in one capacity or another. I've toiled in trenches of intelligence for every president since John F. Kennedy. And when those are under assault, which they are now, I felt it was my duty, my obligation to speak up.
Obviously, I've said a few unkind things minorly about the president on TV.
We transition now to a national security advisor in a political realm who argues that an opponent on the stump should be locked up in prison and who argues that 1 billion plus Muslims should be grouped together. And then we go on to argue that that individual's son, who retweets fake news, should be given access to top secrets. You want to tell me that we're going to transition into the Situation Room to reality, and I'm watching a clown show. I've had it with this, Wolf.
But is there a real national security issue at stake here?
Heck no. This is ass backwards.
Well, I will be clear in saying that everybody in Washington, D.C. knows if you don't want to be honest about it, that's on you. But if you have a security clearance and you keep it, you get more money to have it.
We're done. Get out.
Phil, it's not your show, so I'm staying right here.
And this
Don't get defensive about it.
As a former government official, government's going to kill this guy. My view would be he is not fit for duty. The president is leading the American people to believe that institutions of state are corrupt. I don't care about what he did with Stormy Daniels. This stuff about institutions of state is really corrosive, and that's what I worry about. When I wake up on vacation, the President of the United States says, I'm going to threaten you after you say something I don't like. That, to me, transcends the requirement for an intelligence officer to stay quiet. I'm going to say, no, you're not. That dog don't hunt. It's a bigger issue than my responsibility to remain loyal to the ethos of the intelligence community to say, you're not going to tell me when I can speak when I didn't serve in the government for the past 8 years. That's not going to happen.
What he does is attack the institutions in government who might, for their own reasons, oppose this or that policy initiative. And he tries to invalidate. So intelligence officers are Nazis. FBI is in disarray or in tatters or whatever it is.
Deep state corrupt.
Yeah, the deep state is corrupt. But I've made the calculation that silence is no longer acceptable. Now, each of us in our own way choose our own formula with regard to how we criticize. And
the only one on the panel with a lick of sense, predictably hosted by MSNBC's Nicole Wallace, was Obama-Trump-era former U.S. Cyber Command commander, retired Admiral Michael Rogers.
Be leery of living in a system in which everyone decides that which they're going to do or not going to do. I would urge anyone, stand up and speak your mind. Hold yourself accountable. But I just find this, guys, the power of the structure is the values of the institutions. But we have got to uphold the values and the ethos, even as others have different views and are engaged at times in behaviors that we don't like, we don't think represent norms, and we think are working against the structure. We have got to make sure that in the face of that, we are maintaining our professionalism, our ethos, our integrity. And like Phil said, you didn't get elected. If you feel you can't live with this, make a case. Make an argument. Use your rights as a citizen. Stand up and be accountable for what you believe in. But don't attempt this kind of resistance move, which to me just feeds this narrative, well, you can't trust the institutions anymore.
And like a rabid dog, Philip Mudd drives the skewed Russia narrative home, like a good deep state rep should, attempting to hold Russia accountable for Antifa and Black Lives Matter, when everybody knows that George Soros personally funds both of them. And these guys were in charge of our national security?
Look at what the Russians have done. We keep talking about protecting the American electoral process. This is a revolutionary leader in Russia that wants to reestablish the empire. He's about sowing discord at a profound level in our society. You're talking about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Charlotte. He is trying, if you look at their activities, at a sort of mid-tier level, if you will, to disrupt elections. At the macro level, he's trying to create a civil war in this country. That's where I think the White House needs to interject and not only not put fuel on the fire, say, look, we are an American people who want to be a city on a hill. We have to get over discord and talk about things like how do we get beyond Charlottesville and how do we get beyond racial divides in this country that involve having a black kid shot in a white neighborhood by a white cop. That's what the Russians are trying to do, and it is profound.
How do we do that with a president that wakes up on 9/11 and attacks the FBI?
I do think there has to be a conversation that says, how do we bring people together instead of encouraging people to demonstrate against somebody else in Charlottesville, Virginia, and saying that a white supremacist equates with a black activist? You can't do that, and the Russians are building. I'm going to get personal. I have a website. It's a third-tier, low-budget website. If the information, the emails I get from across America that are threats are any indication of what's going on in this country, and the volume is such that I think they are, we are in trouble not from disrupting the American electoral process, but from people in cities across this country hating each other. That's what the Russians are trying to go after. I think the subtext is electoral discord. Our overarching message is we want America to be so consumed with civil discord that they don't care about what we do in Ukraine.
And if you needed another reason why it's pointless to watch CNN.
Back to my earlier metaphor, in emergency, break glass.
Are you breaking the glass?
Yeah, no, for our tribe, yeah. The fact that 3 of us are under contract to CNN is in itself an offense to MSNBC.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We're good.
But we can step back and say we're proud because I spoke this on CNN. I'm proud to be a shitballer, and I want a T-shirt.
Go away, intelligence needlers. America doesn't want to listen to your broken record anymore. John Bowne reporting.